Right now in KGW, protesters gather in downtown Portland to push for the government to abolish ICE. Plus, an update on the fire that's been burning at the Blue Heron paper mill for more than a week. But first, local ice skaters remember the lives lost in the deadly midair crash between a passenger plane and a military helicopter near Washington, D.C. KGW News at 5 starts right now.
It's hard. It's just really, it's hard to comprehend and fathom.
Over a week since the deadly midair crash between an American Airlines flight and an Army Black Hawk helicopter near Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Catherine Cook, in for John. Out of the 64 people on board the commercial flight, nearly half were part of the figure skating community. Today, several local skaters remembered them. Celine Stevens was at the Lloyd Center ice rink for that special event. And Celine, what did you learn?
Catherine, today figure skaters who were participating in an event called the Friendship Games also had a moment of silence to honor those victims. Those I spoke with say the figure skating community is a tight-knit one. And in fact, one man I spoke with today was actually at the National Development Camp in Kansas with some of those who ended up on that flight to D.C. Warning, some of the video used in the story may be disturbing for some viewers.
I came back home like 5 hours before that happened, and when we found out the news, it was just very devastating.
This is Samuel Mindra. He was in Wichita, Kansas less than 2 weeks ago, competing at the 2025 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. He also coached at the National Development Camp, which many of the family members, coaches, and young skaters on American Airlines Flight 5342 attended, some with dreams of one day competing in the Olympics.
Actually, with one of my competitors, his dad was at the camp as a coach, and so we were doing some group activities together, and he gave out like amazing pointers. I was in a group with him, and it's just terrible to find out that he's gone now.
He also says other skaters who died he also recognized while at the camp, like Spencer Lane.
I see them actually on Instagram a lot, and they actually motivate me, and they're like a younger level, just they have improved so much over a short amount of time. And at the camp, I actually finally got to meet them, which is amazing. And then, it's just over.
Sunday, during the 4th annual Friendship Games, which was created by the Oregon Skating Council's Vice President Malia Geary, a moment of silence was held in honor of those victims.
It's our way of just remembering those that are gone, their smiles, their, just who they were.
Black ribbons worn to honor victims as well.
It was a really somber day at the rink for us because, again, we had coaches that had just come back. It's a tight-knit, small community, especially when you get to the higher levels.
Now, a family support fund has been created by U.S. Figure Skating for people to donate to help U.S. figure skating families that were impacted by the tragedy.
It's definitely important to remember them. You never want to forget the people who grown your sport. We're going to remember them when we jump, when we spin, when we skate.
Anyone can donate to the U.S. Figure Skating Family Support Fund to help if they'd like. All 67 victims in this crash have now been recovered. U.S. Figure Skating confirmed that 28 of the victims were connected to the sport. Catherine?
Still so tough to comprehend. Celine, thank you. Turning now to weather, we saw a cool and cloudy day with a few early morning showers, but the next few days are going to be more on the dry side. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to explain how long that will last. Joe?
Hey there, Catherine. It's going to last a couple of days. Basically, the first part of the week is going to be cold mornings with some afternoon sunshine. But what I'm tracking is coming in on Thursday with the potential of some snow as well as some freezing rain. So later part of this week could get kind of interesting. But what we're seeing out there tonight, well, I should say earlier this morning, was a little bit of some warmer conditions compared to what you're going to be running into the next couple of mornings. Overnight lows throughout much of the coast and up and down the I-5 corridor were manageable. it is winter, obviously, but heading into the next couple of mornings, we're not going to have much of that cloud cover to help insulate us. So now we're going to be looking at clear skies overnight and into tomorrow with temperatures dipping down into the upper 20s, low 30s. There will be a cold weather advisory that takes effect starting tomorrow night until Tuesday morning, because Monday night and into early Tuesday morning, temperatures are going to be right around the low to mid 20s. But this ridge of high pressure is going to be with us a good portion of the week, but it will gradually break down by the later part of this week. By Thursday and into Friday, we're looking at a potential for a valley event. Right now, we're looking at the temperatures in the low 40s. Heading into the later part of that week, this week, 44 is going to sound nice. I'll talk more about that and what that could mean for some of us coming up in about 10 minutes.
We'll take it. Thanks, Joe.
It passed with 0 no votes. So as expected, the bargaining team did a great job of continuing to keep pressure on Providence to do what we think is right to make this job sustainable.
A Providence St. Vincent physician is sharing his relief after hospitalists voted to ratify their contract unanimously with Providence Medical Group. But he's staying on the picket line for now. He and other hospitalists plan to stay there until the nurses at St. Vincent reach their own agreement. A majority of the bargaining units have rejected the latest offer from Providence.
I'd say 1,000% unsurprised that it didn't pass, and we've been out here on the line shoulder to shoulder with our nurse colleagues, and we've been talking with them, and it's very clear that we're a unified front, and what impacts us impacts them and vice versa.
St. Vincent nurses rejected their offer on Friday. The most recent rejection came yesterday from Providence Medford. In all cases, Providence said they'll explore next steps with each bargaining unit and federal mediators. And today, Palestine to Mexico. These border walls have got to go. Today, demonstrators gathered downtown outside City Hall for an Abolish ICE protest. Demonstrations like this one have been popping up all over the U.S. in response to actions by the Trump administration, specifically changes around immigration, transgender rights, and the Department of Government Efficiency overseen by Elon Musk. And on Friday, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson announced the city is joining a lawsuit against the federal government over the Trump administration's threats to sanctuary cities. He said Portland is not trying to ignore federal law, but rather keep the focus on local police on local problems.
We object to the federal government's attempt to defund public safety, infrastructure, and critical services in our city. Portland is committed to upholding both state laws and our values. We are prepared to make our case in court and ensure that our city remains a sanctuary for all community members.
This comes after the DOJ sued both the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, alleging their policies prevent federal authorities from enforcing immigration laws. An update now on that huge fire at the Blue Heron paper mill in Oregon City. Now, that fire broke out more than a week ago, and while it's fully contained, crews are still mopping up hot spots. Fire officials tell us the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde has hired a demolition crew to knock down what's left of the mill. No word yet on when that work will begin. And early this morning, crews responded to a house fire in Oregon City near Sharman and Apperson Street. The fire officials say it started in the attic and crews were able to put it out quickly. No one was hurt. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. New tonight, a wild one in Deschutes County where deputies arrested a man wanted for assault. Investigators say the suspect ran from authorities for about 3 miles in the snow while barefoot before a resident turned him in to the county SWAT team. That resident learned about the suspect from a Deschutes alert, which went out to people in the area. Okay, let's take a live look now outside the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. That's where the Super Bowl 59 is underway between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. The score right now is 24 Eagles to Chiefs 0. And here in Portland, we stopped by watch parties featuring fans of both teams. There's plenty of green at the Spot Sports Bar in Tiger. That's where they're hosting an Eagles fan club. They're very happy, I'm sure. We asked the club president his thoughts on the season leading up to today.
Nothing's ever easy. especially being an Eagles fan, right? It's always down to the last minute. It's always down to the wire. It's always down to something. But in the end, we always prevail. We always prevail. And, you know, a couple years ago we fell short in that Super Bowl. We're here to rectify that today.
It looks like they're well underway. And we're not leaving out Kansas City fans. Here is in the Rose City where we saw a watch party with Chiefs Red at the Oh Dear Bar and Grill in Northeast Sandy. And this morning on Sunrise, we asked you to vote for who you're rooting for this Super Bowl and included a neutral third option if you're just watching for the fun and commercials. This time around, the Eagles have more support, but quite a few of you are not taking sides. And law enforcement agencies from all over Southwest Washington are teaming up to keep the roads safe during the big game. They're conducting additional DUI patrols all throughout the day and encouraging everyone to have a plan to get home safely.